I can talk on a personal, how it made me feel. Um, when we did the reenactment of the Treaty of 1855, in a lot of us it woke up something. Some of it was anger, some of it was remorse, sadness, sense of loss, sense of helplessness. Made us feel sad for those that were here at that time. They call it a treaty. But to my way of thinking and the way that I've picked up on it, that there was no negotiation. That tribes did not have a choice in the matter.
Yeah.
That choice was already made by the great white leaders. Our people were put on notice that this was what was going to take place. The plan was there before the people were even gathered. And just going over a little bit of it where it says they will agree to remove themselves from the land where they are now to a reservation within a year of the ratification of the treaty. Or before. Makes me think of what had happened across the nation to all the Native Americans that were displaced by some of these so-called treaties. The people that were made to move to Florida, up to the desert lands. Still going on today in third world countries. That same desire to take over people. So my hopes and my prayers and my thoughts are, by us doing this play, our reenactment, I have a problem with calling it a play, of the treaty. Hopefully it'll fall on some ears that can make a difference. And I think that that's happening slowly. I believe that we have the support of the now President Obama in his effort to, or he's declaring the San Juans National Monument. Our people are still here, so I call it a living monument. We're still here. The plan was that we would no longer be here. We would no longer speak our language. We would no longer do our ceremonies. And so on, so on, and so forth. Be free to travel wherever we desired. Be free to camp wherever we desired. Be free to gather when and wherever we desired. But this day and age where the resources are so limited that now we have to seek permits to get subsistence meat. What's going to happen when I can no longer physically go out and hunt and gather? Do I just lay down and starve and die? It's things like that that I recall stories of the first people that came here. The fish are so abundant that you can walk across the rivers on their backs. The resource is endless. Everything a person could want is right here. And we had all that for the taking. Our ancestors, conservation, preservation. Our elders instructed us only to take what from the land what we needed. Make sure we leave some for the next people to come. That's the way as far as I've heard elders talking, that's what they did. They even shared locations with other tribes and families and helped each other in that way. Now, our westernized way of thinking, our colonialized way of thinking is the more that I get, the more I want, and it's all mine. We don't own the land. We belong to the land. That's what our ancestors used to say. We are one with the land. We were born of the land, and we will return to the land when we pass on. Make sure that the resources will be there for the 7th generation. As it is today, we can't even predict that our way of life will be here for the 7th generation. Some of our own people have bought into this colonial lifestyle. It used to be when the individual brought in a canoe load of herring or herring eggs or whatever, ducks, that everybody from the village went and got what they needed. Same way with the next person that gathered meat or whatever. Everybody in the village benefited. Of course, our village was much smaller than it is today. My registration number or tribal number is 751. I was reading in the literature when there was a mere 430 people. Now we number 5,000.
Mhm.
So we're not the vanishing American that the settlers used to speak about. Somehow, some way, we're flourishing. And growing in numbers. Hopefully, the United States of America will realize, truly realize what they've done. Pretty near annihilating a whole race of people in the name of progress, in the name of the United States. It makes me feel sad when I can think of the day when we thought we had nothing because we didn't have an automobile like the white man, but we had our resources. We had each other. Our people relied on each other. Our people counseled each other. They helped one another. And now if we want help, we have to pay somebody. We don't trade help anymore like how our elders used to do. I can remember helping different people putting hay away for the winter for their cows with horse and wagons. Now they got all kinds of machines.
Mhm.
So, I don't know, Treaty Day to me is kind of a sad time, me personally. To think of what our people had to give up.
Yeah.
There's been many apologies from the United Churches of America apologizing for what happened to the Native Americans as the move west took place. And many apologies in different ways. I personally have been apologized to by a person on the street in Bellingham, stating, "I'm sorry what my ancestors did to your ancestors. I'm sorry for that." My grandson, he got an apology on the street in Bellingham, stating the very same thing. Sorry for what my ancestors did to your ancestors. Wrong can't be righted, but it can be settled by everybody realizing that if we all work together, we can have a happy life. Doesn't matter, we don't need to be the king of the mountain or the richest person in Lummi. But if we have each other, we're rich.
Yeah.
And that's all that we should be wanting. peace and tranquility in our own nation. And not having to fight over this dollar monetary gain. Not having to be dictated to. This is what you're going to get, and this is all you get. It's pretty sad state of affairs that although we've come so very far from when I was a child, I remember those days when we drew our water from the ground, from the well.
Yeah.
No electricity, no what we call now luxuries. Our shoes had to last us until they fell off our feet before we'd get a new pair. Our clothes had to last us until they fell off before we'd get a new one. And now we have so much of that stuff, it's unbelievable. Things that we have, but we're still not satisfied. Why? We're not at peace with ourselves. There's always a conflict somewhere in our lives that shouldn't be there. We should be happy. We should be proud of who we are, where we come from. But a lot of us are not satisfied with that. We want more. So, I know I don't think this is the kind of a story that you wanted to hear, but this is my feelings. I don't speak for anybody. I just speak for myself. I don't represent anybody. I just speak for myself. These are my feelings. These are my feelings that I'm getting out. Thank you.